and I understand the hundred thousands of dollars savings with outsourcing maintenance and operations, but the way we do business has to change, just like Tom said. And if we can eliminate an administrator and reformulate a job, that's more money on there. And the only reason I agreed with the bus drivers because they're still gonna get a little raise and they're gonna have some kind of retirement and they're gonna have some kind of insurance. But I don't want to see homeless people from our maintenance and operations on the street because they have no retirement and they have no other things. That's just, and you go into a company and don't get any seniority, or you've worked here 10, 12 years and you got to work a year to get a vacation day. That's crappy. That's crappy when these people put in all this time and they don't get a vacation day till a year.
So, go ahead. We need you to use the mic though, please.
Yeah, I'm down with that. 100%.
That's 200,000 right there in empty positions.
There you go.
So what we were talking about was people coming into, just like you would with any other organization, coming into a new organization. So if you switched fire departments, for instance, you wouldn't take with you the years that you have
Oh
here.
yeah, you do. If I'm merged, I am.
Is it a straight? Is
Oh
it a
yes, it
statewide
is. It's
thing?
a straight seniority slide.
That's a great.
And our
contract.
people are moving into Durham, getting they're getting time and stuff.
Well, I don't know if there's
Are they not?
vacation time built into a bus driver's schedule because it's not a
Well-
year-round thing. But that's neither here nor there. What we said was we would be perfectly willing to add that item
But we're
to the
eating our
bid.
cost.
Well, except someone has to pay for that. If a person's
Understand.
being paid
Right.
for not being at work, someone has to pay for that. What you're looking to do is cut your budget. I don't know if I told you this last time. I was an assistant superintendent before I started this job 3 years ago. I went through the very same thing you folks are going through right now.
I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even listen to you last time. So.
Okay.
Okay, well.
Are you
we don't
going to
need
listen this time, or shall
No,
I just
because
walk
I already
away?
know where I stand on you, so you don't have
Okay.
to explain to me because you already told me. I'm not going to send somebody with no retirement. I'm not going to send somebody with no time. I mean, they put the time in here, so it's simple. You can't sell me.
Okay.
I mean, you already came in at $9
Thank
an
you.
hour, and then you came back at 12 and 15. I mean, just to get our money. So, and you're a business. You're out to make a profit.
We really need to have that.
Yeah, you ain't gotta have 4 of them, or 3.
We only got one. We only got one officer.
So do we have a motion on the floor or do we not?
Well, I made the motion about the high school assistant principal, so I don't know.
I'll
if there's-
second that. I mean,
So, out of respect for the rest of the board, here go. This is this knee-jerk reaction thing going on again. You set up and kind of fussed about the fact that nobody was prepared for the numbers that we got in front of us, but yet you guys are throwing motions on the floor now. So, I mean,
No, this is stuff we talked about
Yeah,
before,
this
but
is
we
stuff
always
we
got
talked
thrown
about.
back. Well,
no,
we need this
well,
position.
We didn't talk
you
about
know.
this before, not the high school administrator. What we agreed on last time was that this person was going to be here, and now y'all flip-flopping it again. So I'm just,
I didn't.
you know.
Well, let me make a statement. I didn't agree on that. So when you
but-
say the
but-
board,
well,
I didn't agree
you
upon that
part
at
of the
all.
board, right?
But I didn't agree upon that. Let's
But you
get that
part of the
stated. In the
board.
notes, it will say that I didn't agree on that stuff.
It is
And
part
I
of
made
the
that
You
known.
part of the board. No,
It's
you are.
recorded in.
However,
I understand what
It's
y'all
a we.
saying. I get what you're
But-
saying because I'm part of the board. But please understand, I did voice to you my opinion
I
at
did,
that
and I
time.
did
That's
say
all I'm
it
In
saying.
the minutes.
As
that's
a
fine.
board,
That's it.
all right.
we said
Anyways,
that it was
anyways, the motion's on there. It's been seconded. If there's no other discussion, we need to call a vote.
Mr. Cootery,
Yes.
Ms. Bowles,
Yes.
Ms. Crout,
Yes.
Mr. Thied,
Yes.
Ms. Funderburg votes no, Ms. Beard,
No.
There's 100.
Motion is 4-2.
You go to the ones we got
Motion
on here.
passes.
We got that. That's 131.
So we still need a motion to, I don't don't even know where to go from this with this. I need some direction.
Well, yeah, because it would need to have revisions. I mean,
Major.
What, a rationale, you mean?
No, they
No.
have, the revised budget that we have before us does not include the new cuts, the new add-ins, everything else. So everything's
Right.
gotta be totally recalculated.
It can't be
and
voted
you're
on.
voted
making,
on.
you're making it up as we go.
So we can't vote on the budget.
Right.
So I am going to make a motion that we table the general fund budget.
I support.
Till when?
Till when,
Yeah,
You wanna
you have to
postpone it. Postpone it. So you postpone it.
all right, we will postpone the motion till Wednesday at our special meeting.
It's revised.
Need a support.
Support.
Motion made by Beard, supported by Funderburg to postpone the revised general fund budget till Wednesday's special meeting, which is what date? Third,
24th.
September 25th. Well, we're not
Now
gonna make
We're not
it.
gonna make that deadline. So
That's a
if
good
y'all don't get
possibility.
paid, I don't know what to say. I'm out of answers, really, to be rather honest. I'm just as frustrated as everybody here. It's we have to make decisions, and it is, here you go. Nobody is going to have exactly what they want. But what we are trying to do is to have a dang on district that the kids can come to and that you can have a piece of a job. But if what I'm hearing in the audience is that we don't want it that way.
We're getting it.
So it's kind of like it is what it is right now. Let the pieces fall where they may, and if y'all don't get paid in November, hey, maybe y'all should start saying that, well, I didn't vote for that.
Okay, the other motion that we have on the agenda is approval of the deficit elimination plan. Again, this also has to be revised now. So I'm gonna make a motion to postpone this to Wednesday, September 25th also.
That's
Support.
with the assumption that we can
We
get it
we didn't
done.
take oh, yes, we did. I'm sorry. No, we didn't.
Oh, we
did
did?
not vote
Okay,
for them.
sorry.
Can you just put them together?
Put them together.
All right, I will adjust my motion that we are going to postpone the revised 2013-14 general fund budget and the revised approval of the deficit elimination plan till Wednesday, September 25th.
And we will work as
Or-
hard as we can to get the information.
So it's been Beard made
No,
the
that's been
motion.
approved.
Funderburg. We didn't
I'm
vote on
sorry.
that, did we?
The transportation we voted on.
No. I'm talking about the fund budget.
No, I put them together. I just
Okay.
made the motion to put the fund budget and the deficit elimination plan revisions together.
Together. Okay, so they're on one motion.
Right.
All right, so that was Beard and
Crowd supported them.
Okay, we got to vote on this yet.
Okay, go ahead.
we have to vote on this.
Go ahead, take the vote.
You want a roll call?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, wait a minute, what we,
We're
I'm
voting
sorry,
on the-
Voting on a revisiting the revised 2013-14 general fund budget and revised approval of the deficit elimination plan for Wednesday, September 25th.
Cootery.
No. I don't have to be to work for 8 hours. I can handle it.
Bowles.
okay, wait a minute, say that again.
We're gonna revisit on Wednesday,
Oh,
September 25th.
okay, yeah, I got you, yes.
Kraut.
Yes.
Feed.
Yes.
Funderburg votes yes. Ms. Beard.
Yes. Motion passes 5-1.
Well, we will do the best that we can.
And that plan is due what day? Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow. Yep. So they'll notify the state that it's not ready, and we will do what
Huh?
happens, and we'll see what happens on Wednesday.
So, wait.
Well,
We got an executive session tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, but that's That was
So-
something totally different from.
Well,
Yeah.
can't we add some of this tonight to the executive session and go through it and then come
We
out
can
of
add it in
executive
open
session?
session.
No,
Voted
it's
on it.
gotta be all done in open
To
session.
do it in open session.
We can't come back to open session?
We can come back to open session.
And then,
This
Well, I
isn't,
said no, not
this
the
discussion
table.
doesn't involve negotiations or anything that's
But they have
allowable
to
under executive.
re-prepare the budget
Right.
and
oh, they don't have
re-prepare the,
that.
right.
Okay,
But you can redo it with some of the figures that you're cutting tonight.
right, that's what I was asking.
And I think that's what Mr. Kruder was elaborating to, correct?
Right, because
Okay,
you need,
I
you need about
misunderstood.
$500,000 more of cuts, and how are you gonna come up with that if we don't give them to you
Right.
now?
To put
And-
Right
into
now,
this.
what I'm coming up with is approximately 100, or 298, with the 167 shared time you gave us and the
No,
131.
the shared time are already included in the
Okay, well
budget.
then.
Well, you
we're
got
short.
334.
Yep, so,
I say let's
And
come up
hopefully
with
we're
it
gonna pick
tonight.
up 3 FTEs when we reinstate.
Probably will lose them after the decisions we making.
So I say, yeah, why can't we discuss at least what, come up with the money figure tonight, even
Yeah.
if they gotta come up with the,
Yeah, they just have to recalculate it in.
yeah, can we do that?
I don't think you told the state we were gonna be at 0 tomorrow. And we weren't gonna be at 0 tomorrow.
we've got it further than what
Yeah,
we
we
were
are
last time.
supposed Okay, somebody, excuse me. Excuse me, everybody, I'm trying to get an understanding, excuse me just for a second. Is there a possibility, when we go into executive session, once we discuss what we need to discuss, we can sit together and try to come up with some more ideas of how we're gonna come up with this amount of money, and then by Wednesday, she'll have that list together and we can do the vote. Is that possible?
Whatever.
The
you
general
do.
fund and the deficit plan?
We can't discuss it in executive session, we can discuss it outside
Okay,
of
that's
executive
fine.
session.
Can we do that?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah, but why can't you come up with the additional figures tonight and add that in here tonight and vote on it? That's what I don't
that
understand.
was my
That's not what she said.
That's not what
That's
she
what
said. She
Tom was
talking-
elaborating. We make the cuts tonight and just add that figure in, and that's what we're gonna vote on. We're
Mr.
adding-
Dixon,
'Cause
he's
right-
the person that puts all those numbers together.
Yeah, so
just
he needs to
had-
document.
Well,
he's
he had
gone.
to leave. I guess he's not really helping us then.
Well, no, he just had prior commitments
I
because we
understand
got
that.
him part-time.
I
So,
understand
I
that.
mean.
Okay, that's fine, I understand that.
But the
he's
figures we
not here
come
to-
up with
But he's not
tonight,
here to put the numbers in. So, you talk about accuracy and having the numbers, he ain't here.
But how is he gonna get them Wednesday if we vote on it Wednesday and figure up the numbers? He's not
He's
gonna get
gone
them
for
till
the-
Thursday.
He's gone for the evening, so I
Yeah,
would
but-
suppose that they probably get him to do the work tomorrow.
Right, well, yeah, but he can't do the work if he doesn't have the numbers. We haven't given him enough yet, is
yeah.
what I'm saying.
And when are we gonna talk about getting the numbers?
So he's gonna talk to, we're gonna give him the numbers Wednesday, he's not gonna get them till Thursday, and maybe give them to the state on Friday. And in the meantime, we got people in the audience and in this community that may not get a paycheck.
Can't we just email him the numbers?
Because we couldn't come up with an idea. Like I said, I don't have to be at work till 5 in the morning. I've been up at 24 already. I'll stay
I
up
don't care
again.
if the
I don't
people
mind.
go
I can
home. I
stay
can
here.
stay here and work the numbers
I can
tonight.
stay here tonight. I can stay tonight. I ain't got no problem.
Yeah. I
Jimmy
mean,
John's
it is
will
what it
deliver.
is.
I mean,
We can come
Then
up with
make
a
a motion
ballpark.
to change the agenda.
I make a motion, we settle this budget issue tonight.
I can't do it. We don't have the resources available to do it. No, it's not.
No.
It's very complicated math with the deficit elimination
Fuzzy
plan.
math, they call it.
It's not something, we don't have a business manager sitting at this table right now, and that's the skill set that we need in order to do this. I'm sorry, I wish we did have that, but we
that she
don't.
did before
So,
she left.
I think Ms.
it
Pat,
was
one
on
of
the-
the
it was on the
things
right
that
sheet
we were
though,
talking
right?
about was just
We're trying to
getting
listen
what they
here,
wanted to
please.
eliminate. And not so much doing the math, they just wanted to give you what they were talking about eliminating.
I can take that from them, but I can't
Right.
plug it into any
Right.
spreadsheet and
Right.
determine if that's going to
If
get
it's
us out of
gonna do it.
deficit. Because you have to remember too, that this is a structural issue, so whatever savings you get this year, you have to make sure that you're ensuring those savings next year, but you have to also add on to it. Because remember, the first year savings from outsourcing this was a smaller amount than the second year. So if you're prepared to discuss about in the instructional programming that you're prepared to eliminate, because that's the only thing that's left, we'll have to go after instructional programming. Is that what you're suggesting?
And the kids that you retain, you're gonna end up losing because there ain't gonna be nothing to come here for. I mean, really.
What, you don't think people are gonna leave right now? You got 42 people in classes right now.
here
People
go.
already
And
talking about
I
leaving.
think one of the things
43.
that is I'm getting perplexed about is that we are not talking about getting rid of your job. We're talking about you not having Romulus Community Schools at the bottom of your paycheck, but that you have another vendor's name at the bottom of your paycheck. Now, I do understand that there are definitely some issues. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my people. You are asking me downtown somewhere, so you need to be quiet. I'm just outdone with
stop.
you because you come here and you just
Stop.
you just need to just be quiet. Because I wasn't talking to you. I'm talking to my people that I care about.
Probably 8 o'clock.
Okay, but you were about to throw them up under the bus.
We are going to
those same people up under the bus.
5-minute
So you need to be
recess.
quiet.
Okay, so we need a motion for us to,
Do we need a?
after executive session, to add an item to the agenda to come back and discuss budgets, correct?
I'll make a motion that we discuss the budget, continue it, I make a motion that we discuss the budget this evening after our executive session.
Support.
It's gotta get done.
Motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mrs. Kraut. All in favor?
Aye. Make a
Opposed?
motion to order Jimmy John's.
Motion passes
I got a nap.
6-0.
You could join the party.
We got seats, folks.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, we have 3 student reinstatements to look at.
I don't even know where my papers are.
I need the first, a motion on the first one, please.
I gotta find them first.
Reinstatement of student number 2005-321.
Okay, Madam Chair, move the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the School Reinstatement Committee to reinstate student 20005321.
Support.
No, that's not the entire motion. It's,
That's the motion I
Ramos Community High. Right.
to Ramos Community High School.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. To Romulus Community High School.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mr. Theed. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? 6-0.
Where's 8500?
The next one is reinstatement of student number 2007-216.
Madam Chair, I move the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the School Reinstatement Committee to reinstate of student number 20007216 to Romulus Community High School.
Actually, the number should be, it's a typo, it should be 161, there's a 1 missing.
No, that's on the,
On the motion, I
On the
think,
agenda sheet.
on the agenda, don't go
It's
on
not
the,
complete.
on the paper, I think it's wrong. There's
But-
an extra number on there.
Can I, is it time, can I do a discussion on this as well?
well, let's get, we gotta get the motion
Okay.
and the support still.
All right.
I wanna make sure I get the number right.
So which one's the right number? The one on the
I got-
paperwork or the
I think
the
it's
motion, the agenda?
7216.
Okay,
So 2007-216
right.
is the correct number.
1, 2,
Is that
3,
correct?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So the one on the packet, the one shouldn't be there. Okay.
Okay, so a motion made by Mr. Kudrick.
Thanks, Sandy. got me.
Did I hear a support?
Support.
Supported by Ms. Funderburg. Discussion.
Okay, I'm looking at the document, and on the first sheet, I'm noticing that, if you look under the summary of panel reinstatement hearing, it says one particular student name, but if you look in the second part, it has another student name in the document itself, that's not.
That's being corrected.
Yeah, okay. I
Yep,
wanted to make sure I bring
I did bring that to
that
their
up.
attention.
And,
We've had a temporary person that's helping us out, so.
yeah, I noticed also that, we didn't receive a complete packet either. There was some information that was missing, the behavior detail documents were missing, and also the profile documents were missing too. I didn't get a chance to actually review that information. It was given to me today when I came in. It was sitting here.
So we have a motion by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstained to it due to the fact that I didn't have all the information.
5 yeses, 1 abstain. Next item on the agenda is reinstatement of student number 2001-1668.
Somebody else do it. I got the last two wrong.
Move that the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the School Reinstatement Committee to reinstatement of student 2001-168 to Romulus Community Schools.
Support.
High school.
Okay, motion made by Mrs. Kraut, supported by Ms. Funderburg. Any discussion?
Just the same thing, just the information was given to me at the last minute.
Okay.
Okay, I did have the number. It's different. Is it on the topic sheet for the summary? Is it the 200116668?
Yep.
Okay.
3 sixes?
No,
two.
just two
Two.
sixes.
Yeah.
0011.
Oh, in the body it has only
668.
one
8,
six.
right. Okay.
So which one is it? The 1 6 or 2 6s? Okay.
Maybe we should let the students type these up.
1668 is the last.
Okay. 668. So there was too many ones in there.
Okay, so I have a motion by Mrs. Kraut, supported by Mrs. Funderburg. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
5 yes, 1 abstain.
Oh, let me make a statement, not because I'm trying to, I don't want to see the kids go back to school. That's not the reason why I'm abstaining. I'm abstaining because I haven't had the opportunity to look at the whole document to be able to review the package, so just want to make that known.
Thank you. Okay, the next portion of the agenda, we took the recess. I wanted everybody just to get a cool-off period. We're now at the portion of the agenda where we have communications and expressions from the public. I'm hoping that we can all talk to each other in a civil manner. Everybody, us included, I'm not stating anybody in particular. If there are any more sheets for anybody that'd like to speak, you can bring them up now and I'll. No, okay. The first gentleman I have is John Gray. Okay, Mrs. Dawn Bonham.
I think it's the top one.
There you go.
Okay, Dawn Madison Bonham, 28474 Oakdale Court. I am up here today as a middle school parent, concerned about the numbers in the classroom, of course. I'm very concerned because my daughter is a 7th grader at the middle school. Her classroom sizes in her core classes are over 43. One class is 47. We're getting kids in every day, which is beautiful. It is a blessing to get all the students in. We got to find out, we got to do something with them. Because I know in her math class alone, you can't even get in the aisleways. There are folding chairs and kids with clipboards. If there was a fire, there'd be a problem. And so I am really concerned with the classroom sizes. Something has to be done. I understand that we're working on a classroom program coming to the middle school. That's wonderful, but we're in the 3rd or 4th week of school now. And then we're gonna have map testing for a couple of weeks, so you don't wanna move kids around. Then you're moving into MEEP. Then you're moving into break. And I only know that because I'm there. So it's gonna get harder and harder to move these kids around, especially in their core subjects. They need to be stationary right now. And something has got to be done. I know for a fact, only because I'm blessed to be a parent that also works in the district, that my principal and assistant principal have done as much as they can do. Now it's in your hands. I do understand that we have a deficit. I totally get it. I understand. We've all been hit. I get it. But when it comes to my baby, It's a whole different story. And not only do I have my baby there, but I have over 14 relatives at the middle school alone. So, and every last one of them wanted to be here tonight, and they could not come, of course, for other reasons. However, when I speak for my baby, I'm speaking for the other babies, and as far as I'm concerned, they're all my babies at the middle school. And I want to see them all do well and succeed. And we cannot expect them to do that in a classroom setting like that, when you have teachers that take half the class just to do the attendance. And then once you get them calmed down, most of the hour is gone. You know, so I'm just asking and I'm pleading as a parent, please let's do something about it. You know, I want to keep my child here, but her education is more important. Thank you.
How many classrooms at the middle school do we have over 40?
All of the seventh grade course.
Okay, the next person I have is Julia Leskowitz.
Hi, Julie Leskowitz. I think we've had enough confrontation for one night, and we need to be.
I don't think it's on, Julie.
Totally off subject. Am I?
I don't think it's on.
It's up.
Top
It's the
one.
top one.
There you go.
There we go. Totally off subject. I'd like us to have a moment of silence for the tragedies that have occurred in our world in the last week, starting with Washington. If you don't think I wasn't scared for my baby who was working in Washington, D.C. last Monday. Also, the Chicago tragedy. And the one that actually hit us, my family closest to home, is one of my daughter's good friends from Kenya lost 2 of her best friends and an uncle in the mall shooting. So if we could have a moment of silence, I would really appreciate it, because I think we need some calming in our world. Thank you. First, I appreciate how hard the administration is working, all of the administrators and all of the teachers who are trying to provide the information from the classroom level so that decisions can be made. But there is, having been a salaried employee most of my life, there is a big difference between an hourly and a salaried employee. At times when things are going crazy, I mean, I can remember getting a hotel room in Ann Arbor when I was directing the Cancer Society, and we had different things going on, and I was working 19-hour days, going to the hotel and taking a shower and sleeping for an hour and coming back. So this will not be going on forever. I really do appreciate all the extra time that our staff are putting in, but like I've said to the board, you sign up for this, it's hard, but you have to deal. I'm concerned with Durham again, because I don't know how many of you saw the news on Thursday, and this gentleman can tell us if it's true. The incident that happened in Rochester Thursday, was that a former Rochester driver, or was that a Durham driver?
There was an incident this past Thursday.
Yeah, in Rochester.
I apologize, I don't have an update on that, so I would have.
Okay, it was on Channel 7 News. A bus driver during her off in between runs time went to a mall in Rochester and was arrested for shoplifting. And
I can speak to that, actually. That occurred last year, a year ago, and it was a former Birmingham School District employee that did transfer to Rochester, and that incident has been dealt with and addressed. If that was the Parisian incident?
no. This was at a mall in Rochester. And the district, according to Channel 7, and I did call and ask them if they could verify their story, and they said yes, they had to call the school district to come and pick up their bus out of their parking lot. And things happen, but I don't remember, this is a small town, and I don't remember hearing about any incidents with our bus drivers ever since 1977. So I'm just a little concerned about the screening, if indeed it was your company, and if it was a company driver as opposed to one that was.
Research it and get back to the administration.
Thank you. I just feel better about it.
I'm aware of one that occurred recently. There was one that happened last year around this time. That's why I'm just wondering.
Yeah, because we had the one about in Northville with the driver letting the kids off because she couldn't handle them on the bus, and I'm just concerned about that. Do our employees who will be moving on to another company get some kind of exit package? I'm just asking people.
Contractually, there's a severance package that's built into their, whatever is built
Like,
into
do they
their
get
contract.
any sick or vacation time that they have accrued?
It's spelled out in the individual
Okay,
contract.
I'll read the contract.
Yeah, in Local 64, they receive their sick days up to, I believe it's $8,000.
Okay.
So, and then they also would receive any accrued or earned vacation time as well. If they were unable to take it before that transition occurred, we would be obligated to pay that
Okay.
out as well.
And I have one other question, because I just don't understand exactly, for our Durham representative. The health care that our people will be getting, you said it was a preventative health care policy. Could you explain what that means to me? And I have to backtrack and say this is why it's so important to me personally, because within a year, I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure and had to retire, and my husband was diagnosed with leukemia. And to this day, he gets immune-boosting treatments that run, not the charged amount, but Blue Cross pays $3,400 a month for these treatments. And if he had only preventative care, after about 3 months, we'd have to say, Ron, I guess you can die. And I don't want any of our people to be in a position where, due to the lack of health care, and I mean, this is not Durham's fault. This is a societal problem. But right now, they have good health care. And if they have pre-existing conditions, if they have sick kids, if they have sick spouses, they have insurance that will cover it. To pull the rug out from under them, I don't think they care about that $1 an hour raise as much as they care about the health care. So I just, for my clarification, would like to know what they're going to be receiving.
The insurance is a preventative health care insurance, or there's a dollar amount cap. It can be used for whatever they want to use it for, but it does cover prescription drugs, and it covers the typical preventative care insurance that you'd normally take for doctor's visits and things like that. So they can use it if they have an illness. They can use the dollar amount towards the illness, but there's a hard cap on it every year. I apologize, I don't have that in front of me. It's either 5,000, 15,000. There's a cap. There's different steps that you can choose to take. And I'm sorry? Yes, there's a hard and fast cap once you reach it, but there's doctor's visits and there's prescription drugs. All that plays into what you choose to purchase. And I can look here and tell you the plan pays $5,000 per year for in-hospital visits, $1,500 or 80% after $150 deductible for outpatients, and there's doctor visit copays. There's an in-hospital surgery benefit, and there's a pharmacy maximum. So there's different steps, all that contribute to the dollar amount that you elect. Doctor visit, primary care is $20 per visit. Wellness visit is one visit per year at $20. That's for anyone that goes to the doctor, yes. You know, anyone that you choose to insure. Our contribution covers the 70% towards an employee portion, but then you can use that for, you can elect family coverage if you wanted to do so. Yes,
Okay, thank you, Justin.
you're welcome.
I was in the hospital for 24 hours, and I think it was 113.
The next person I have is Sandra Langley.
$782 for my daughter's test. I had to pay out of my pocket. Insurance didn't cover it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak before the board and to share in this meeting to learn more about what's going on within the district here. I am so pleased to see so many of the Romulus residents here today. I'm an old person. I'm a former board member, and I was on the board total 19 years. So I know what you're going through. I know the heartache that you feel. I know the frustration and confusion. I also have lived the frustration and confusion that all of you're giving your heart and soul, and it's hard. It's real hard. But today, I made a list. I listened today. And I was making a list of things that I don't understand. And I've been gone a while, a long while, and I understand things changed. And when I left, when I chose not to run again, I did it because I knew that it was time for young thinking, more, the younger group to come in and to make decisions and learn how the district works and that be a part of it. And that's our responsibility. Our responsibility is to learn as much as we can about the workings of the district. And yes, it's confusing. I was very dismayed when I found that the board did not get information prior to the meeting on a timely basis or a thorough basis. That you guys can't make decisions that way. It's too much. It is way too much. I think the whole thing boils down to one word, and that's communication. And communication, it doesn't mean just between the superintendent or the board members, but it means communication between everyone in this office, all of the employees, and as many of the family members that we can grab. And if we have to go to them, then we go to them. If we have to bring the problems of the district down to where we can all understand it, that's what we do. Because you gotta remember, it's been a while. But after 19 years on the board, I learned. I learned because I chose to learn. Julie was on the board. She learned because she chose to learn. And we did everything in our power to get as much education and information as we could. I would hope that the anger that we saw tonight, be it on both sides, is something that is a rarity. I would hope that when the board members come to the meetings, that they have everything they possibly need to make these difficult decisions. I would also hope that during these board meetings, our focus are those kids. That's what we didn't hear. To learn that there's 47 to 49 kids in a classroom, we better get us together and get a meeting going or get something going to where we can figure out a plan. Use what we have and make it work. We have to learn because we get angry out there that it's going to get all fixed. It isn't going to happen that way. We have to come together. We have to work together. You guys have the knowledge that a lot of these folks don't have. And if you've been in education for a gazillion years, you don't know what these people are dealing with. As a board member, when you're elected to represent the people of your community. You may not always agree with the right decision, but you have to have the guts to make the right decision, and it's hard. And sometimes you will be alone in your voice, but you have the voice. You have the people that are making decisions here and implementing decisions. You need to be like that. You need to drive them nuts. As far as if you have questions and you want answers and you still don't. I'm a nurse. And I worked with I worked with gazillion families. And one of the things I told my families, and they are my families, I don't care who it is. If you have a question about your loved one, you ask. I don't care what the title is. I don't care who the person is. I don't care. I just don't care. I deserve an answer about my loved one. It works the same for you guys. You ask your questions to help you make the right decisions. You have an unbelievable job. And I will tell you, after 19 years, it is a thankless job. But I appreciate the 19 years that I put in. I feel like I was in the Army or something. But I do. I have good memories and I have sad memories. But I would do it all over again. You know, and it does. It takes away your days, your time, your family. But this is what we signed up for, and this is what we have to do. So I'm going to shut up because I could talk for hours. But my biggest question, my biggest thing out of the whole thing tonight was communication and lack of. I don't see that here on either side. I see a lot of anger and frustration. My hope is that you take this home, that we can find a way to come together to resolve some of these issues and see what we can do to make the best out of what we have. Because we can sit and fuss about all of this, which is extremely important. But I hear 49 kids in a classroom, and I'm thinking, my God,
It's a lot of babies.
we're setting these kids up. And what are we going to do about it? Nope, we have to hold everyone is responsible, including ourselves. You guys have made the first step by coming. And believe it or not, this board wants you to come.
Sure do.
You do, don't you?
Yes, sure do.
But we have to learn to get over the anger and use the knowledge and experience that we have to help these people understand where you're coming from. And it works, believe me. Been there, done that. It works. So, I'm done.
Thank you. Tim Sowers.
Hello? Okay. Hi, I'm Tim Sowers. I know some of you I don't. First thing I want to touch on, 43 plus students in a class. Really? Students in the middle school do not take change easily. You have students that are in advanced math classes and whatnot. I hear they're now going to keep them in same classrooms. Well, how can you keep children with advanced placement classes, advanced math, whatever it may be, in the same classroom, but you have 43 plus students? Not each child is going to get the attention that they need. I have a child in middle school. I have a child in high school. Hey, kudos, public school all the way. But 43 plus students, something's got to be done. And you're sitting there talking budget numbers and crunching and this number's not right. I guarantee you're gonna lose students. I already know people who said, you know what, to hell with it, I'm homeschooling. I'm going to Huron. I'm going to here. So your numbers you look at now, they're gonna be wrong. I hate to say it. Dude from Durham, how many drivers are you bringing over?
We hope to hire as many as your local Romulus drivers as we can.
Okay, but hopefully is not going to give these people a job or those who are close to retirement. If you bring over, there's what, 50 bus drivers? You bring over 25 bus drivers. You got 25 being union, you got to go by seniority. Then if it goes through on December 1st, sorry, y'all Christmas is going to suck. Merry Christmas. You can't do that. I mean, I know it's beyond our control, and I know it's beyond your control and the board. State's got to do this and everything. But you have people you're getting ready to put out of a job. You may say, oh, we'll take as many as we can. What if that number's 5? What are the other 45 going to do? And it's not just the bus drivers, it's the custodial staff and everybody. Are you union? I'm just asking, is Durham union?
That's fine.
Our plan, as I spoke to, now this will be our third time I've addressed the public here as well. Our plan is to hire as many of the employees that are from Romulus as we can. Their seniority will be honored for their route assignments and for their picking, just like they have now today. If they would like to join or continue having their union represent them, that's their choice. They have that right as employees of a bargaining agreement for the NRLB laws. I can't say yes or no to that. That's not something I can control.
Right.
That's
So
something they can control.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm union. Most of these people in here are union. If my kid's bus driver's non-union, I'll be driving her back and forth to school. Watch your head count start dropping then.
All I can say, sir, is you have a choice to make. But our plan is to talk with the employees as
Oh, I
soon as
understand.
possible and schedule a meeting
It's
as quickly
choices.
as possible and to talk to those individuals and not disrupt their holiday.
I understand.
Not do that over Christmas. That's why we had talked about escalating the implementation to December 1st with the administration, so we do not.
And I understand, but I'm getting to you. You said you're going to take as many of the current employees here now that work for the transportation. And also, why does majority of the cuts, pay cuts, vacations, terminations, whatever it may be, come from the transportation side? It comes from other school districts. Always the transportation that gets affected first. Hey, I hate to say it, you want to start? Start at the top. You know, administration. You know, you get a principal, I don't know what they make. Hey, I mean, bus drivers, I know what they make, but I guarantee principal's going to make 3-4 times more than the bus person. Hey, cut them 20 grand. You want to get money? And how many principals you got or administration you can cut a little bit off of? Just saying.
I don't know who this is. Melvin Brobson?
Hello, my name is Melvin Brabson. I am the staff assigned to Local 64. I am the chief negotiator. Probably for the last 30 days or the month of August, we sat down when this school board was contemplating contracting out then and said, hey, we need this type of savings, this many dollars. We sat down for 30 days and we pulled teeth, we pulled hair, and we was able to come up with something that our members agreed with and that this board agreed with. And now here we are, September 23rd, saying, guess what? We're getting rid of you. We don't care if we agreed to something, we're getting rid of you. We don't care if we didn't call you back and say, hey, we need y'all to look at this again. At least give us a yes or no if you're willing to do something else. We didn't get that opportunity. I got a call Thursday morning saying, hey, they're going to get rid of us. Nobody called and said, hey, we need y'all to sit down with us and see if you're willing to do something else to save these jobs. No one called. Wonder why. We have never refused in the past to sit down to try to save our jobs. Never have we said no. Amen. But now there's no call, no phone call. Here we are. Jobs being thrown out the window. Folks said, hey, we're going to hire y'all. There's no guarantee that they will. There's nothing in writing saying that we're going to hire these school drivers. Nothing at all. No one come to us and say, hey, we got a $300,000 hole. Can you help fix it? No one said that. But yet we're going to contract out to a for-profit organization and expect to get some savings somewhere down the road. For-profit organization. And these folks worked hard over those 30 days and not given an opportunity but a slap in the face. Not an opportunity to say yes or no. That's a slap in the face. Now you got another opportunity come Wednesday night. And I asked that somebody reach out to us and say, hey, is there something we can work out, something we can do? You got a couple of days. Don't hesitate to pick up that phone.
Amen. Thank you, Mel.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is questions and concerns of board members. Mr. Kudrick,
I don't have any.
Mrs. Bowles,
Can you come back to me? Give me a minute.
sure. Mrs. Kraut,
No.
Mr. Thied, Mrs. Funberg,
Nope.
nothing for me, so
Back
you're
to
on,
you
Mrs.
again.
Bowles.
Okay. I just want to know, I'm going to ask one more time. I'm being told two different things. So I would like to know right here, once again, in front of my board members, in regards to the contracts that we have already negotiated on, can we adjust those contracts? And when I mean contracts, I'm saying contracts in general, administration, central office on down. Is that something that we can do? Because I was told that in a situation like this, yes, we can. But then earlier in the year when I asked that question, I was told no, because we'd be bargaining or it would be out of good faith. Is that correct?
Are you
So-
talking, so collectively bargained agreements, we have 3 CBAs that we've settled in the last year. And 2 of them have wage openers at the end of each year, and 1 of them does not have a wage opener, but as Mr. Brabson just advised the Board of Education, it sounds like they would be willing to come back to the table. We can always go to the union and ask them, will you open your contract back up? There's nothing contractually that in their contracts written right now that will force them to open their contract back up. We can ask, they can say yes or no.
Okay.
And then at the end of each year, the 2 contracts that have wage reopeners, that's at the end of each school year. We can go to them and we can say, okay, we're opening back up the contract, just on wages. We're going to have a discussion about wages, and we can continue to negotiate that. The board, the way our contracts are written, the board will not realize any less savings from those units. But again, it's a negotiation, so we may or may not receive additional savings. It depends on the negotiations.
Okay, the next item is I need a motion to go into executive session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we go into executive session for negotiations.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. Roll call.
Mr. Kudrick,
Yes.
Ms. Bowles,
Yes.
Ms. Kraut,
Yes.
Mr. Thied,
Yes.
Ms. Funderburg votes yes, Ms. Beard.
Yes.
There will be action. We gotta make sure we announce that after
You
the.
take, is there gonna be any action?
There could be, right?
There could be.
Well, that's what I mean.
Executive session, we've adjourning to executive session at 9:12 PM. There may be possible action afterwards. Have a motion to come out of executive session, please.
Madam Chair, I move that we come out of executive session.
Support.
Moved by Mrs. Funderburg, supported by Mr. Thied. Roll call.
Mr. Kudrick,
Yes.
Ms. Bowles,
Yes.
Ms. Kraut,
Yes.
Mr. Thied,
Yes.
Ms. Funderburg votes yes, Ms. Beard.
Yes. Out of session at 10:28. Do I need to make a motion to go back into order? Okay, I need a motion to go back into regular session.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion we return back into regular session.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mrs. Kraut. Roll call again?
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's what I thought, I'm sorry, but I thought coming out of executive session was us getting back to the regular meeting.
Yeah, we just vote to
Yeah.
executive, we're on.
So we don't need to, we're back in regular session.
Okay.
It's getting late. Okay.
Rebecca's gonna be back in a minute. I guess you guys wanted to talk about additional cuts.
She was pulling.
She's pulling some information for us.
Teresa, I think we have to, about the buses too, field trips.
Did you want to mention?
Yeah, why don't we just do that?
You want me to make the motion?
Yeah,
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we cancel effective immediately all field trips within the district
till,
till further notice. All field trips.
Support.
motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. All cancellation of all field trips till further notice.
Do we need to?
Should we let
reason?
them specify, clarify that it's not athletic competitions, it's field trips? For the audience, so that they understand the
Yep.
difference.
Well, that's, I mean, yeah, we can, I mean, athletic participation in sports is one thing, but field trips are definitely out.
Okay, motion made by
Voluntary bus and
Mr.
fuel costs.
Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
And we should probably let the public know that it's to save our buses that are,
Fuel costs and wear and tear.
yeah,
An additional step to reduce rep costs.
I'm sorry, say that.
It's the
save our buses, but also, at this point, even with their own transportation, right now, we're just cutting.
Costs. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Was that the tax with Delta Airlines, was that included in this yet?
The tax is a wash.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue with Delta is that and forgive me if this is our understanding of this. The tax tribunal ruled that, yes, that Delta was overassessed. So they won the case. The tax tribunal said, here's how much these different entities that received this tax allocation that you deserve back, here's how much they each owe. So our portion of it was $700,000. So the state will release a payment to us for that tax tribunal adjustment. So it's not in the debt because it's a wash.
Okay.
Our problem is cash flow, because we don't know when the state, we're trying to get to the bottom of that right now, we don't know when the state's gonna release the payment to us. If we pay the $700,000 to Delta, we don't have enough money to make payroll.
Right.
So we gotta make sure, we're not gonna do that.
But that
So-
$700,000 belongs to us anyways, right?
It
They're
is.
just gonna give it to us a little quicker to pay Delta is what they're
Well, we're
saying.
trying to find out when that transaction's gonna occur, when the state's gonna pay us, so that we can go ahead and turn around and pay our debt off to Delta. So nobody's questioning whether we owe it or not. Everybody agrees that we owe it. It's a matter of cash flow. The other piece that complicates matters is that the municipality, and in this case Wayne County, they have to initiate, or they have to authorize this change in the allocation or the tax. If they haven't done that yet, and we're trying to get to the bottom of that, because that's gonna tell us, when they do that, that sends electronically the message to the state, okay, go ahead and release payment. It triggers the payment to us. So we're trying to figure out where everything's at in the process. In a normal, I don't wanna say normal, because I don't even know what normal means anymore. But in a situation where a business has an 8 to 12% fund balance, which is recommended by the Michigan school business officials. In a situation like that, this is fine. You just, you've got the fund balance to kind of comp you over until the state pays you off. Our situation is the cash flow. We can't wait.
But our attorneys are talking to the.
Our attorneys
They're
have
talking to
contacted their
Delta.
attorneys, the Delta attorneys, to explain the dynamics of this situation, to get them to back off from what they're going after the
They
city.
were notified today.
Yes.
Okay, as long as that's getting taken care of.
No, we're on it.
So the floor is open for suggestions for the budget reduction.
Well,
What?
so I take it one was the assistant principal, correct?
Yeah.
I voted on, yep.
Yep.
But we don't have a dollar figure on that, correct?
What was in the budget they had listed with benefits and everything was 131.
131,081.
081?
131,081.
And that sub that's in that position, we're gonna quit using them effective immediately.
Well,
Within
within a day or two.
Yeah.
I really don't want to.
like within the next couple
So
of
tomorrow
days.
would be the last day they'd potentially be there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Yeah, can
Can we
we,
do it
can we get it,
Friday?
can we,
Yeah, I
can we
mean,
make a
to give them
transition?
time to
Yeah,
get stuff
okay.
done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're gonna be, so what are we saying, Friday then? What are we saying, tomorrow? Is
Friday.
their last day, or Friday?
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Give us a chance to transition them out so that the existing administration can reallocate
Jobs.
some responsibilities and figure out how they're gonna move forward just in the short-term interim, and then they can strategize the long-term.
So we're saying the 27th. Okay.
So my suggestion of the maintenance and operation administration person, there's no way that people can undertake those 20 employees under them?
Well, I said, you know, I asked and the business director had 50, that's why I said put them under HR, it's 20. Most of the stuff is handled directly in the schools by the principals, correct?
Who orders supplies?
I assume that it's the director of business operations.
I would
I'm
think
not,
so.
I'm not familiar with the day-to-day operations of maintenance and operations.
Well, we'll make one of them a custodian supervisor, and that would still save us money. Make an order supplies, or give each school the budget and let them order their supplies. I bet you they'd probably save more, too.
I'm just curious, do we know what that position is? I thought I had a list of them.
Custodial supervisor? A coordinator?
Would that be director of maintenance, right? I have it right here.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, I don't have it in front of me. Is the position now paid at 70,000?
What I have is
60.
78,734.
That was before the concessions.
It's 78,860. And then I think 69,474 at
That's
the end of
current.
2014.
That's the current salary
Right.
on that, so 69,000.
Right.
So
Do we have
if we
to
want to
vote on
hire a custodial coordinator, we have to add another 40,000 back into that contractually. So the net savings on that is 30,000. If I heard you correctly, you want us to add a
Well, I mean-
custodial coordinator in.
No,
not
I
add,
said, I
just
asked if
make
that was
one.
in the contract, or is there a way that we can get around talking with the union to put those employees somewhere that would have a different boss and not, if we don't have to fill the custodial position of that supervisor?
Well, the contract doesn't dictate who their supervisor is.
Right.
Yeah, that's management,
I mean,
right?
can those 16 custodians report to HR? I mean, can HR be above them? I'm just trying to figure out how the contract works.
You could. I mean, the contract doesn't restrict, you can do any of that if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, that way we'd get the full savings out of that, right? For now?
Okay, so the proposal is to put that under the heading of HR?
So you want the HR department, who's already absorbed the technology director position, and half of the curriculum position. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I
You're
would, I
gonna-
mean, I would hope a
you-
lot
you
of the
can only
principals, I hope.
And they do, and they
I would
always
hope a lot of the
have.
principals would probably be the foreseer over them
Mm-hmm.
because they're in their buildings. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to get a feel on how it all works.
Mm-hmm.
If there's, I know a couple of them move time to time, but
If you were gonna have somebody oversee it, my recommendation would be the business office,
Right.
because of the amount of purchases that go through with the maintenance and the repairs and et cetera, that all funnels through the business office.
Wasn't Jerry doing a lot of that anyway?
Yeah.
What Sherry wasn't doing was directly supervising those staff. She supervised the
The monetary part.
yeah, the business, the director of facilities and operations.
General oversight.
So the savings out of that one position is just $30,000.
No, because I
If,
misunderstood.
if we don't fill the
If we don't fill the
custodial, yeah,
coordinator
if
position.
if those people can, without violating any work agreements, if they can go over to HR,
Well, you'd have to bump the one person up to a custodial supervisor. And that's roughly, based on their old contract, I mean, it's about 25 cents an hour more. But then there's that reduction that they got in there, so we'd have to figure that out. But it definitely would be a savings. It would be more than 30,000, that's for sure.
So you're proposing to bump up, what was that, Mr. Kuderick? I didn't catch that.
Well, we would have to put a person in the custodial supervisor position. We'd have to put a person in there based on somebody that's a maintenance A step. Step 3 actually is roughly pretty close, well, about 35 cents more an hour.
why would we have to put them in there?
Well, if you're gonna give them the title,
If we didn't give anybody a title and just
then
kept
you
it under
wouldn't have to
HR,
do, then you wouldn't have to do anything.
then we would get to full effect of roughly the 70,000.
Right.
Because HR's already
So
doing
who's doing
Because
the
HR's
oversight?
already doing it.
curriculum and
Who's doing the
technology, she
oversight?
can't take on more.
Business
Can I
office.
just, okay. We got $500,000 hole we have to plug
This year,
this
another
year.
800
And
next
then
year.
next year is 770, 80, somewhere around there.
And we have to have both years filled in
Right.
tonight.
The only other place that we are getting those savings is in the instructional programs. That means that our kids are SOL. The people that we have gained, we will lose. I'm sorry, I just, I can't do that.
Well, then what's the option right now? I mean,
I'm not doing that. And we have an option in front of us, and we don't have enough guts to do it. And and here you go, I'm not trying to be insensitive to you or what's going on in your household, because I understand, because I got my own issues with the
I can't
city
vote
of
on that
Detroit.
subject.
I get that, but I guess what I'm saying is, I get what the decision that we have to make, but when I have to weigh it with what we have to offer our kids' minds are at stake right now. And if they're not coming here, here you go, we will lose the kids because we don't have anything to offer them, which puts us back in the same spot talking about cuts and getting rid of because we aren't bringing anybody in. So it's just kind of like, just make the decision, and please, can we move on so that we can service our children?
I don't think it's about guts or not. I think some of the decisions we had tonight, it's not about guts or not. I mean, we make the decisions, but sometimes, you know, like people talked about tonight, we've been addressing class sizes since day one. Okay? And these employees do touch our kids. I mean,
And I understand.
and the only
that.
thing I don't like is, like I said, it sucked for me to even get the bus drivers, but I see they're still going to have some kind of future. But some of these other people, I understand the kids are number one too, but these people are part of these kids too, because these touch these kids every day, and they have kids in our schools. And so they're going to pull their kids because they're going to have to go work at Taco Bell. They're going to lose a house. So we're going to lose 65 employees because they're not going to be able to make it with this company right now. Unless that company can come in and change some kind of perks for them. I mean, and we threw it out there to him twice. God, I mean, to give somebody no retirement who's with us 15, 20 years, I don't think that's not guts. I think it's compassion. And it's about our kids, because they all have kids here, they all have families here, they all went to Romulus schools. And believe me, so tell me, if we would have outsourced custodial maintenance tonight, Would them 43 students still be in that class tomorrow? Sure it would be. We're going to lose those kids anyway, probably, because parents are going to get peed off and they're going to go. And I'm one of them. I have no problem moving my kid to another city because I can step right down from this position and walk to another city. I can put my house up for sale and go to another city. I could drive my kid. And I've said it before that I'm not happy with Romulus schools sometimes. And it's not so much our staff, it's our admin. So if I would have outsourced everybody tonight, we'd still have 43 kids in a junior high tomorrow. And we'd still have 41 kids in a kindergarten class at Rommel, and we'd still have overcrowded in every school, and that's not going to solve that problem because we're not going to get an influx of money to hire 15 teachers tomorrow. So, about the kids, I understand that, but we're not going to get, there's no leprechaun sitting with a big gold pelt tomorrow, whether we outsource maintenance. I'm trying to think of people's future, too, because I have kids in our district, because I'd feel the same way.
Okay, about having guts. Yeah, it took a lot of guts putting these people out of work. But I'd have to agree with John with what he said. When I looked at the bid proposal for transportation, them folks were actually going to get more money per hour. Unfortunately, state law forbids me forbidding on the maintenance and custodial staff. And I'll keep some of them comments to myself there. But I've talked this over extensively with my spouse on it. I don't have any hard decisions over it, because we've both talked about it and made adjustments. We've seen the writing on the wall, and we've been working on it for the last couple of years. We've got to look at a lot of things and what affects the students and what doesn't affect the students. And there are things that we've got to make cuts, and we've all got to make cuts. And yes, none of us are all going to like everything, and we're not going to agree to everything. I sent an email earlier today, or actually last night, to the board president about some ideas I had. And I haven't slept since Saturday night either. And I've still got to go to work at 4 in the morning. But you know what? This is the job that I was asked to do. This is the job I'm doing. This is important. Yes, there's a budget. Okay, I've worked for companies where they came and says, oh, you're taking a 20% pay cut effective Monday. There was no vote. It was, we were all in the garage. They said, everybody's taking a 20%. We're like, huh? It wasn't like we had time or a year or anything. I mean, these employees, yes, they're valuable. I know them. I've talked to a lot of them for the last couple of weeks. I talked to a lot of them this last weekend. There was many, I'm not saying all of them, many of them understood it had to be done, okay? But, you know, it's hard. There's no doubt about it. It's hard. It's a hard decision for the ones that's got to vote on it. Unfortunately, I can't vote on that part of it, but we've got to make, everybody's got to pay the price, okay? It's not, nobody's immune. When you stop and look at the stuff, and you stop and look at the numbers, even in the debt elimination plan, look at the percentage who gave what away. Did you read them across? I read them. I seen 10, 14, 14, 14, 22. Okay? The ones that are taking most of the hits out of that bargaining unit were the 12-month employees. They're the ones that took a lot of the hit on the sick days, vacation days. Bus drivers weren't getting some of that stuff. Aides weren't getting some of that stuff. That's because their position was entitled to it. They're allowed to get it. They weren't getting the other times. What about the years that the bus drivers and aides were able to vote on whether or not the custodians worked 4/10s through the summer? Right, they didn't. They had to stay on their shift. Okay? If, you know, the bus drivers are important. They get our children. I have 2 nephews that I house now because of their family situation that go to the Romulus Middle School. I know. Okay, I've got children in there. There's children in them schools, elementary all the way up to high school, that I know personally, their families. Okay, I've known your children for quite some time. There's a lot of them. There was countless ones. You can ask Miss McAnally, she's gone, how many kids were out there. I've known that police officer when he was a student in high school over here. That's how long I've been around here. Okay, some of these people, you know, I mean, I see John's, I've worked with Teresa's son in a lot of things outside of school. I work with these schools. I talk to these students. They see me. They come up and say hi to me all the time. They don't run from me. They should, but they don't. But anyways, it's a hard decision we've got to cut. And if it's fair, it's fair. But, I mean, yeah, some people are mad because we got rid of the middle school or the high school assistant principal. Nobody's in that position. Who's it affecting right now? Nobody. We just we're laying off 52 people. They're real people. They're in that job. They're going to come to work tomorrow morning, we hope. Okay? That one in that position, there wasn't a body there. We had a sub. Okay? It wasn't like we were saying, here's your slip. Sorry. Thanks for the time served. Okay? These people, that's what I made the mention about having somebody talk to them, to advise these people. Maybe there's somebody on the bubble with 20 years. Maybe they want to retire. Okay? I know personally I've talked to my wife on it. Okay? We've talked about issues. She's talked about changing careers maybe, looking at different things. How it's going to affect us. Yeah. We had people in here saying, yeah, I lost $8,000. You know how much I lost out of our household because I had a vote on it? Okay, yeah. Talk about guts. I was sitting up there and I had to be quiet. But she lost over 10 grand. How does that hurt? Your family is affected with the city of Detroit. You had no control over it. But your husband risked his life every day going into a burning building. Okay? In other words, he gets $12 or $15 an hour. If there's somebody in there hurt, he's going to run in there. He's not figuring how much, well, wait a minute, I only get $12. I'm not going in there. You know, we have to do it. Yes, we have to worry about our children. But we got to cut it. In the 80s, they cut a whole lot. The Board of Education whacked out so much out of here. The high school was only going to school 5 hours for the day. I was out of school at 1:15 every day. Okay? I only needed 15 credits to graduate. Okay, so talk about cuts. These cuts are simpler to compare to them. They whacked everything. They just went down and whacked the sports. Some of our former board members can probably tell you back then, or people that lived in the community. Teresa was going to school at that time. They whacked everything. They went to 5 hours. That was it. I think Anna might have been in school at that time or just getting there in the high school. But, I mean, they whacked everything, didn't they, back then? And it took a long time to get it back. This is a problem that we have to fix. We didn't cause it. We have to fix it. Funding in the economy has finally come to the point that public education is getting affected. We've got somebody sitting up there in Lansing that wants people to fail. Now, are we going to survive, or are we going to just roll our sleeves up and say, well, sorry, too bad? Okay, we can't do that. We have to do something. If we were worried about our children, we got to do something because somebody else is going to fail. And there's going to be another district real close to us that's probably going to fail within the year. Who's the first one? Is it going to be Belleville, Romulus, Taylor, Wayne, Westland? No, Huron's not going to fail. Everybody's running to Huron. But you know what? Their buildings are only so big until them people start hollering because they got to have higher taxes to build new buildings. Are they going to enjoy it? That's when their residents are going to holler. Yeah, the overcrowding in the classrooms is a pain. It needs to be done. But if we cut up an assistant principal at $131,000, then how many teachers can we hire? Thank you. That's what I'm talking.
And like I said, I if I have to bite the bullet and which we did on busing tonight, but outsource our maintenance and custodial, I just want them to have some kind of future. And that's why I brought this up before about, was it the ad sketch or that? Edge staff. I mean, they can't even take, I mean, do they have a retirement? I mean, and the guy even talked tonight, what would it cost if we provided the retirement, or did he even mention that? He mentioned that tonight.
If it's okay with the board, I'd like to go back to Dan Burr tomorrow and ask them some of these specific questions
And
and
that's
get down.
kind of what I was asking you, could we boot their hourly rate, could we move it up for like the head custodians for the high school, middle school?
Again, they don't have that structure.
Right. They don't have that.
The problem is,
Right.
if we move it up, then that's the less savings we're going to have.
I know,
But he mentioned retirement
what
somehow.
you guys are
So
talking
Could I
about,
talk to them about a 401K? Could I talk to them about, an enhanced insurance package?
I would have no problem with that.
The problem with that, it seems like that company would come in and try to offer that stuff at the get-go instead of sitting there waiting for us to ask for it. if
Well,
they were
it's all,
legit.
it all ties back to what the board.
It's what you want.
What the board, what we were asking for and what the board needs in savings.
right,
I mean, if I could go back and have that conversation.
If they do a 401K for this account, very likely they're gonna have to offer it for their entire employee base, and that's what he was talking about.
I'd like to get the
But let me
questions
find out,
answered.
let
yeah.
me find out some specifics.
Just-
See, we got people in there that's worked in the district
You
that have
also
bought
had mentioned-
retirement too, that are gonna be
You had
hurting.
also mentioned vacation time was a hot spot. That was a concern of yours. An employee doesn't receive a day of vacation until a year.
That bothers me a little
You
bit.
know, That bothers me, but
That
I
bothers
understand
me.
if you leave
Yeah,
from one
but-
job to another, you don't get the vacation days started from where you left. I mean, when a company bought us out, they came in and says, okay, you guys get 5 days vacation, 1 day for every year. We all looked at each other, because a lot of us were already at 15 days.
But once again, that was an option. I mean,
But we didn't have choices. I mean, I understand moving from company to company, but, you know.
Other school districts that have privatized already several years ago to see where they are now.
Mm-hmm. I have personally.
I mean, because I spent all day talking to a former Macomb County teacher, and the district privatized 6 years ago, and they're in deficit budgeting still. And like on the list, they're another one on the list, so I just wonder if you talk to some of these other districts. Unfortunately, you don't have the time, that's the frustrating.
talk to other school board members. I know cities. It's
Garden City outsourced their
I mean-
custodial staff years ago, and they finally, after how many years?
Right.
So,
got them back. Or,
But that kind of also kind of lends to the decisions that the board is making. I mean, whether they're bringing kids in, you know.
I mean, if you can get some of those answered, Rebecca.
I would do that tomorrow. I let the
Well,
board know.
I think he said they put 75,000 into marketing, but you can't market classroom sizes 43 and 47 and expect to be successful.
I don't think our plan is to keep the class sizes there. Our problem is we can't pay to hire a teacher right now. You don't have
can't
any
pay
money to hire anybody.
75,000 to market either.
Things to offset those.
That's what the issue is.
Yeah.
It's not that that's where we want it at, that's what it is for right now.
But we are trying to make some modifications now.
Yeah, I know the other day Ramel was smoothing out a little bit. So
Dr. Daniels, you talked about the state aid. Are grants part of that money as well, or is it separate? Because I know that we, talk about classroom sizes and Title I and all that, are those monies tied together when the state pays them out, or are they separate?
They're a part of the overall, but the thing is, the things that you can spend those federal funds for are so specific. You know, how we can offset certain things, because we don't want to get into a supplanting issue.
Right.
And that's the piece. If we're looking at, the total of all of the revenue coming in, then also those general fund dollars too. But that goes back into the complicated calculations of the deficit elimination.
Those federal revenues, though, those grant revenues are included in the overall revenue.
That's what I was thinking. That is all kind of connected together. I mean, so the thing is if they withhold state aid, then, you're not getting your grant money either. Is that kind of how that works?
It depends on the grant. Some grants you
Yeah.
do a drawdown of, so each month the business office draws down whatever percentage that they're allowed to draw down, and it's outside of the state aid, but for the most part, I would say 90% is coming directly through state aid.
And with the drawdown, it's a reimbursement. It's where we've had to pay, but then they'll, we can reimburse back in. But the way it's set up, we have to pay it out first, and then it comes back.
Have you ever done a survey to find out why our own kids are not going to school?
We've tried and suggested it, and we finally got the approval this year to start doing that from Dr. Daniels, but,
Rather than looking for kids from other communities,
well,
we need our own kids.
Oh,
like I
And
said,
we
we've got the
have
approval
been.
from Dr. Daniels to start doing that. The problem is now we gotta get the time to do it. Me and Mr. Steve were talking about doing that with some committees, and Dr. Daniels agreed to us to do it, but the thing is, this is more important right now to get this done. We don't have the time to do this. There's only so many hours in a day.
Well, since everyone's talking, you need to listen to your parents, and the schools are in business to
Go ahead, Mr. Benoit.
Thank you. Has there been any more movement on getting the grants released from industry yet? Dr. Daniels?
They're still in the process, again, we're in one of those situations where they're flying by the seat of their pants too. And what we originally had hoped that they were going to do was to take the allocation and based upon the number of students in each catchment area, just assign those funds to the districts. That would have been the quickest way and would have worked well for us. But what it appears that they're doing is that they're waiting to see how many students we have really gotten, which will not be until after count day.
What day is that, please? I'm sorry to cut you off.
October 5th.
October. So it's
October
after.
2nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that what they're really now trying to do is to give districts who they really got, give the money in that fashion. That appears to be what's going on right now. And I've had a number of conversations, with them. But part of it is that a number of the students who were supposed to be coming in, I'm talking about to all of the districts, did not go. So what they're doing is they're trying to base it upon actual head counts and FTEs. And that's going to take a little bit of time before they can come up with
But
that.
you don't get those numbers until after we have to submit,
Yeah.
which we don't find out. I mean, it's just,
It also,
to me, it's just the
right.
grand setup for failure. And I guess that's just where most of my frustration lies, is that the state of Michigan don't give a hoot about what's going on here in Romulus. And we have to save ourselves because they're not offering any assistance. I think it was just by the connections that Mr. Dixon had and the rapport that Rebecca and Dr. Daniels has with some of the people in MDE that even just thought about giving us 5 extra days to figure it out. And when I start thinking about the fact that we might not be able to make payroll after people have worked, some people live paycheck to paycheck. So do you think, they're gonna be just as angry when they don't get their paycheck? And here we are, and I get the not having the pension. All of that is important, but what we gonna do now? We got to figure that out. What are we doing now? Because in the meantime, while they're making big, huge plans to just, take a bulldozer and plow over Romulus because we're in the way of their beautiful Aerotropolis, which I think that's the greater scheme of things, they just want us out of the picture. And if we don't have a school district to contend with, then guess what? It's even easier to do. So, I'm just frustrated. Past frustration.
So what are we giving you so far?
Assistant principal.
Just two.
What is the difference? School administration goes down $600,000 from this year to next year, so it has to be more than just the assistant principal, because that was only 131.
And it really wasn't on until next year either.
Approved budget and projected budget, that
Well,
was the
with,
general
the-
budget.
The 14-15 budget assumed that we were made the assumption that we were closing an elementary school. With the marketing plan of trying to obviously increase our FTEs, retain and increase, we were hoping to not have to close that elementary, but we did include everything included in reducing a building. So from 13-14 to 14-15, there's actually 3 administrators in there. There's the assistant principal at the high school, there's an elementary building principal, and there's also the reduction of the community high, which is the supervisor over there.
Right.
So those were the 3, and then administration, the secretaries are also in that group. I'm trying to draw the secretaries are also in that group.
So we we have 40 and 47 in a classroom. Do we have any empty classrooms?
We do.
Just not.
What we don't have is budget to hire additional teachers. Now, the concern at the middle school has been addressed, and we are working, you know, there's a relief coming in there. But I want to go back to something that Danielle was alluding to, you know, she said if we just had these grants, we could take care of some of this overcrowding. We have to be very careful with that as well, because if we hire somebody today, like we put that middle school class in to relieve that, and then we end up getting additional at-risk funding, I can't use at-risk funding to pay for that teacher because that would be a supplant. They said to me, you already general funded that. You already said you can do this. So you can't, that would be an absolute supplant and a violation of the use of the funds.
So it has to be like a brand new kind
It
of thing.
does. It does. So when I was speaking with and I can't remember her name, the very nice parent of the 5th grader at Rommel, you know, who was expressing her concerns about the 5th grade, you know, if we added that 5th grade classroom right now,
Right.
we wouldn't be able to use that 31A monies for it. So I said, as soon as we get those monies released to us, we're going to use those monies in the way that impacts the students the most, and that is reduce class sizes for 31A.
I just have her first name, Shadana.
So we have the assistant principal reduced. We have Rebecca getting us information on additional,
A rework for the Ember.
for DM Burr.
And I hate to say this, and we have to obviously get the numbers, but, I mean, I don't want to cut an AP. I mean, I think that that's cutting to the instruction, but if DM Burr were to provide us with some additional resources for these 20 individuals that we're talking about, we might be able to offset that with the savings that we're getting from the assistant principal. But it has to play out for the whole 2 years. It has to play out in the structure. Because we're counting on that full savings next year too. We can't forget about that. We can't.
Well, if we've got the students as we got now next year, we can't afford to close the school, can we?
Right,
Right.
right. But at
Then
that
we
point,
can
then we go back to the
Right.
state and we say, okay, here's how it's,
That's
you know, we'll be able to shake out the finances a little bit better. Once we know what hopefully our new reality is.
What about secretarial and kitchen staff? Has that been looked at? And what about all non-union staff, support staff? Has that been looked at as possibly going to third parties?
The food service has already been bid, and I'm sorry, I didn't finish my conversation about that earlier. That already went out to bid. It's a very complicated bid process from what I understand, because it has to go to the state. It's managed by the, I don't know, whatever food administration handles school food services. The thing with food services, though, is that, and I'm trying to make sure that this is correct. It's my understanding at this point that there's no general fund. Monies are used to support our food services. That is all contained within itself. So the revenues that are brought in through the food program,
They recycle. They support it.
yes, they support. If there is anything left over, it goes into the food service fund, and then they have to use that to purchase equipment and
Stuff
things
in
like
the
that.
cafeteria.
Now, so where the economies of savings would come in, would be that we wouldn't be using all of that money for our benefit, our salaries and limited benefits, because the food service group does not have a lot of staff that receive benefits. Like, I could probably count them on one hand. But we would be able to, if we did outsource that, we would be able to increase. But at this point, it's not a major need, you know. I mean, the food service department has been able to keep our equipment up to date and things like that with the operating budget that they have. So it would not have a net impact at all on our general operating fund. to answer your next question on ancillary staff or support services, we have not. I can contact, I can try and put a bid together for outsourcing. Are you suggesting like the business office?
Two of them. One is just like, I was just curious why the secretaries weren't ever incorporated in, because they were ones that got benefits too. It seems like that was the biggest savings from maintenance operation, was the benefits. Why weren't the other benefit positions? That was a big thing with transportation, was the fact the folks had benefits. If that was the thing that everybody was trying to get at, I was just curious why that unit wasn't ever, no inquiry was ever made.
Of the
secretaries,
of the
unions, and then the non-union support staff.
If you look at this, the wages that, that our secretaries are making, we're within the, we could outsource, we could put a bid together.
I'm just asking why, if it was ever brought up, or
It
why. I
was.
wasn't here when that originally
It was.
came up.
I think the board gave us permission to bid out every non-instructional service. We got to transportation, custodial and maintenance. We were working on the security. That bid never hit the streets. I'm trying to revive it right now. We did the food service.
We were, I think with the secretaries too, one, I remember you saying that there really wasn't.
There's not a lot of companies that will outsource
that
it.
offer.
But so our menu of options is gonna be pretty small, but I can certainly investigate it. I know in other states, it's like Kelly Services. Are you familiar with Kelly Services?
Yeah.
They actually have an educational arm.
Right.
But they don't service Michigan.
Right, but I think the other thing that kind of came up, and I know this is a concern of mine, is just the confidentiality for the student files. To me, that's a huge concern, because when you're talking about kids' social security numbers, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to entrust that to just any Joe Blow off the street saying I'm with Kelly Services and they put me here today and then tomorrow you got somebody different. Just saying.
Well, I'm sorry, the Kelly Educational Service, it would operate much like a Durham, where they would
Keep your
bid on.
people.
Yeah, you would keep those people. They would bid on the project, and then they would be the
So
fiscal agent
it's
for
the
them.
different part.
Yeah, it's not the
Okay.
it's not the
Yeah.
Kelly
Temp-
temporary
When you say Kelly
services.
Services, I'm thinking like
Right.
somebody
Temps.
temporary coming in and then you got 5 different people throughout the whole week.
Okay,
But I can continue to work on that if that's,
But in regards to the DEP, you can't put any of this in the DEP until you have the final numbers.
Right.
Right.
Which brings us back to our
We
original
should be making calls
conversation
tomorrow, right?
of,
Well, the only thing
We
I can
gotta
do
have a
on
decision
DM, I can do
always.
DM Burr, because that bid has already been
Right.
through the cycle. We can modify the proposals on that. With security, with secretaries, with anything else that you want us to bid out, we have to go through the bid process. And I believe you have to have the bid out for either 30 or 60 days. I have to go back and read. And I apologize for not knowing it off the top of my head. That is something that the business manager facilitated and organized.
I think we got stuck on the fact that we got that first strike. And that's kind of, we've been spinning our wheels since. It's 11 o'clock.
Quarter after.
11:15, excuse me.
Okay, so what's the board's pleasure?
I got babies to get up in the morning.
Sound like you're getting worse. It's fading. When did we come back from
Are there any other things that we need to let them know so that they have, because they have tomorrow and that's it?
The one they gave us last night. Yeah, Wednesday.
So the board can expect an update from me on the questions that you've asked me about DM Burr. You can expect that tomorrow. You can also expect an update from the superintendent and myself regarding the conversation with the state. As I had mentioned before, I am obligated to call the state and let them know the progress of what's going on and explain to them that we are unable to deliver a DAP as of today.
Well, and explain the one issue that the one board member had to abstain, and we had a board member that couldn't make it.
I will certainly, and hopefully they'll have some,
We're gonna have another
some
meeting
heart will come
Wednesday.
out and some leniency will be afforded to us.
That'll be my prayer.
We will do our best.
I do need to let, not much public here now, but I do need to let everybody know that we won't have video recording for Wednesday.
We have audio though? We'll have audio?
Yes.
Yeah.
See if I can get a tape this year.
Yeah.
Leave an extra one.
We'll do the audio, we just won't have visual. All right, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Or
Motion made by Ms. Funderburg, supported by Mr. Theed. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 6-0. 11-17.